It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Monday, the 7th of October. I'm Michael Groff. More record-breaking heat is anticipated through much of this upcoming week. Temperatures appear to trend down a little bit as we head toward the weekend, and next week we may actually finally dip below 100 degrees at some point. But in the meantime, more records will fall by the wayside. We've had 13 consecutive days breaking a record high temperature. Will we add on to that today, make it 14 in a row, maybe 15, 16? Well, we'll find out. Plus, when might we finally get some relief? Some rain, cooler temperatures. We'll talk about that. Plus, we have a Category 5 hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll get to all of it and everything else as we dive on in. First, let's look at it. The almanac from yesterday. 113 degrees was the afternoon high, establishing a new all-time record. Well, tying the all-time record that was established just a few days ago. Obviously, the latest in the season we've ever had a high temperature at or above 110, let alone 113. Keeping in mind, before this year, we had never had a high temperature of 110 degrees in the month of October. The previous record, 107. All right. 80 degrees was the morning low. 93 and 70 are the averages for this time of year. Outside now at 11:25 a.m., sunny sky. And 102 degrees at Sky Harbor, but it's just absolutely bone dry. Dew point 31, humidity 8%, a light wind. The barometer is falling. By the way, that is 69 days now with a high temperature at or above 110 degrees, 134 days with a high temperature at or above 100. And that is a record that we very well could break, that 145 days of highs 100 plus. And we've had 114 days now with a low of 80 plus. Wow. And the question I get every single day, Mike, why is it so hot? Why is this unrelenting heat continuing? Well, the answer is, look here in the satellite picture. What do you see? Nothing. That's right, because high pressure is in control. Not just a high pressure area, an anomalously strong ridge. Upper heights have been around 591 to as high as 593 decameters. And so you have all that sinking air. It suppresses clouds from forming. Yes, the northern hemisphere is tilting away from the sun. Yes, the sun angle is lower and lower in the sky, now down to about 54 degrees. That means less solar radiation getting to the surface. But here's the situation. This is why it's so hot. Not just this strong ridge, but keep in mind we had a very dry summer. And that means the ground is very dry, very low soil moisture. So that sun comes in, it heats the ground heats the air is very dry as well. So we have maximized that incoming solar radiation to give us the hottest possible temperatures that I think are really physically possible for this time of year. Something I never thought I'd see, but there it is. And that's going to continue. Now, we do have a trough that's approaching the central California coast. And while that is a weak system, we should see at least a small increase in the amount of moisture across Arizona tomorrow and into Wednesday. Some clouds around, so that should lower temperatures at least 2 or 3 degrees. Still, we'll be flirting with records, though, because, still incredibly hot around here, and we don't anticipate any precipitation, at least not in our part of the state. The watch warning map, we've got an excessive heat warning in effect through 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. The National Weather Service might extend it beyond that, but that's where it is right now. The big story across Florida, where we have a hurricane watch now posted for the central portion of the Florida Peninsula, bookended on either side by tropical storm watches. Storm surge watches along the west coast of Florida as well. Really from around the Big Bend all the way down to the Keys, storm surge could be an issue. And of course, the big threat will be around Tampa Bay and the adjacent areas, as we will outline in a moment. The convective outlook for today, no organized areas of severe weather across the country. So let's take a look at the tropics. The big picture, we had 3 systems on the board, but Kirk is now a post-tropical cyclone. It's lost its tropical characteristics, now a cold core, sort of mid-latitude cyclone headed for Western Europe. We've got Leslie and we've got Milton. Leslie is a hurricane for now, but this is expected to weaken. As it does, it's also moving north, gaining latitude. This will not be around for long. This should fizzle out later this week. And then we've got Milton, Category 5, top winds 155 miles per hour. Rapid intensification, you better believe it. In fact, here is the satellite presentation. over the last, maybe 12 hours or so. And you talk about just exploding. Look here at the last few hours. When I started putting together this video earlier this morning, this was a Category 2 hurricane. It is now a full-on Category 5. And they have found the central pressure in this is now down to 943 millibars. Incredible. And quite scary as well. And going back to the Hurricane Center advisory, look, this is going to remain a Category 5 for a while. Now, a turn toward the northeast is anticipated. The big change since our Hurricane Milton update that we did on this video last night was that the Hurricane Center has once again adjusted the track of this a little further to the north again. Some of our models had taken it a little further south. Now it appears that a more northerly track is back on the table. There's still uncertainty. Let's keep that in mind here as well. But now the Hurricane Center brings this up right up Tampa Bay by Wednesday evening at about 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern time. And that is really the worst case scenario. Now, this will probably not be a Category 5 at the time of landfall. There is southwesterly shear that should begin to weaken this system. That's the good news. When we say weaken, though, the Hurricane Center still expects this to be about a Category 3 at the time that it makes landfall. That is still a disastrous scenario for Tampa Bay and the surrounding area. And as this encounters shear and starts to weaken, what happens to a hurricane as it weakens? Well, the wind fields begin to fan out. This is a fairly compact storm right now, as we've been showing you on the satellite picture. You see a lot of clouds there, but the main circulation is actually fairly tight on this right now. And it's tightened up quite a bit over the last several hours. But once it starts to encounter that shear, it's going to fan out quite a bit. And so we're going to see those winds, the tropical storm force winds are going to spread out over most of the Florida peninsula. Really from Lake Okeechobee all the way up to maybe Jacksonville, you could experience tropical storm force winds, and hurricane force winds will be likely all through the central portion of the peninsula as this makes landfall. Now, things can still change, the track can still change, but if you are along and south of that path, with a hurricane coming in from the west or southwest, if you are along and south of the circulation center, that's the bad side of the hurricane to be on. That's the onshore side, and that's where you're going to get the greatest storm surge, the strongest wind, and you're going to get the heaviest rain, as well as the threat of isolated tornadoes in those outer bands from this hurricane as it approaches and eventually makes landfall. So now, not to say that if you're on the northern side, you don't get any storm surge or any of the bad effects or the ill effects. It just won't be quite as bad as along and south of the circulation center. All right, checking out the satellite picture on this, another view. I mean, that's incredible. That is an incredible look at that storm. My goodness. That's textbook right there. And obviously, there's going to be case studies on this hurricane going forward. Now, looking at modeling on this, the tropical set, the ATCF set, very good clustering. And, we're seeing kind of a split among the models between a further southerly track and a northerly track. Well, now it sure looks like most of the models are on board with taking this up right into west central Florida, right around Tampa Bay. Yeah, some are still a little south of Tampa, some a little north of Tampa, but Tampa seems to be pretty much right in the center of this, at least right now. Could this still change? Yes, but that's how it looks at the moment. The GFS ensemble is actually just a little further north of that, the ensemble mean, the black line there, and yeah, we could see that track turn even a little further to the north, but again, this is the main track of this storm right now. The Hurricane Center is on board with this. Again, the modeling consensus. Now, of course, there's still some outliers. Here's the Canadian ensemble. It takes it a little bit further south. And look, is that still a possibility? It is. But right now, again, the focus is back toward Tampa Bay. Regardless, you need to prepare for the worst case scenario if you are in Tampa Bay, up toward Lakeland, Orlando, all through the central portion of the Florida Peninsula. And look, if you're further south, if you're down toward Fort Myers, you don't want to take this lightly either. And if you're up even on the Nature Coast, you're up towards Cedar Key, don't take this lightly. I think we've learned that from Helene. We've learned that from other storm systems this year. You never, no matter what the category of hurricane, you don't want to take it lightly. Even if it does weaken, quote unquote, weaken to a category 3, that is still a significant, very serious, very dangerous hurricane. Storm surge. Yeah, storm surge. Again, this is the forecast from the National Hurricane Center. And in Tampa Bay, that's 8 to 12 feet. And if you are in an area that is an evacuation zone, you got to be thinking about that right now. And when they tell you to evacuate, you need to evacuate. You are not going to survive a 12-foot storm surge. And I'm here to tell you that right now, not here to say that to be shocking, outrageous, or scary. I know you get plenty of that on social media. We don't do that here, but you will not survive a 12-foot storm surge. It is that simple. And even down to, again, down toward Fort Myers, you got 4 to 7 foot storm surge down that way. We could see storm surge even 2 to 4 feet all the way down toward Flamingo. And even the Keys could see 1 to 3 feet. And up on the Nature Coast and up in the Big Bend area, yes, you're on the what we call the good side of this, the offshore side. But despite that, this is going to be pushing a lot of water with it. So even if you're on the offshore side, you're still going to get some degree of storm surge, even up to some of those same areas that were hammered by Helene last week. We don't want to, it's just unbelievable to think about that, but those areas are going to get hit again, at least with some minor impacts from this. All right, so let's take a look at rainfall here for the next 7 days, closer to home for us. This is valid through Monday morning of next week from the WPC. We're showing you the broader view of the western half of the country to show you that, yes, in fact, most of the west will be very dry. Maybe along the California coast up to the Pacific Northwest, some rain. And obviously some pretty heavy rain out there toward British Columbia. But, boy, for the most part, the west will be very dry, including us here in Arizona. Maybe a shower for the northern part of the state midweek here, but that's going to be about it, as the main storm track is far away from us and high pressure will remain in control. But maybe a change in the weather pattern. We'll talk about it as we dive into the models right now. Here we go. This is the GFS. It is the 12Z run. It's valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. There is Milton out there over the Gulf. High pressure is in control here over the southwest. And so what it means down at the surface for the rest of the day today, sunny and hot. Highs 105 to 109. Could we still hit 110? Maybe. It's going to be close. Regardless, we are expecting another day of record-breaking heat. That will be number 14 in a row. Tonight, mostly clear to partly cloudy. Overnight lows should be in the 70s to near 80. Tomorrow, we've got a little trough approaching the central California coast. Some increase in mid-level moisture, so we'll call it partly cloudy. High temperatures tomorrow, down a couple of degrees, around 103 to 107, but that'll be good enough for another record in all probability. So that's 15 in a row. Here's Wednesday, an isolated shower or thunderstorm across northern Arizona, maybe. And for us, partly cloudy, high temperatures again somewhere around 102 to 106. So another record could fall by the wayside here. We'll be close. Here's Thursday, still hot, 102 to 106. Skies sunny, air dry. Friday, mostly sunny. And highs will be around 105 degrees. Going into the weekend, it's more the same. Highs 101 to 105 for both Saturday and Sunday. Each day, the sky will be sunny, the air will be dry. Now, on Sunday, the GFS does bring another trough into the western states north of Arizona. Maybe just brushing by the northern portion of the state for an isolated shower or thunderstorm there. Is that possible? Yes. But we've seen a number of different solutions here. There's quite a split on what will happen this weekend. There's some forecast uncertainty. At this point, I still expect it to be hot and dry for us, but we'll watch model trends to see if maybe a slightly deeper trough comes on through here At this point, we anticipate just dry and continued far above average temperatures to continue, and it's still flirting with records realistically. Here's a week from today. This is Monday, the 14th. And a little baggy trough sits over the southwest if the GFS is right, but high pressure is generally in control. Some type of almost like a Rex block trying to develop here over the western states. But in any case, we would be generally dry. Could there be a few showers and thunderstorms over the northern or eastern part of the state if this is right? Yes. But around here, temperatures might nudge down a few more degrees. Highs still close to the century mark, though, if that's right. Going out 10 days. This is Wednesday, the 16th. And the GFS shows more troughing beginning to develop over the western states. Not necessarily deep troughing, but you see negative height anomalies are coming in here. And if this were to verify, afternoon highs would drop close to normal or average for this time of year, right around 90 degrees or so. But I caution you, the GFS has shown a myriad of solutions, and the ensemble does not bring us down quite this much, although it does have highs dipping below 100 degrees. So the heat continues, but just not quite as oppressive by the time we get toward the middle part of the week. At least that's the indication we have for now, but as we all know, things can and likely will change. All right, looking at rainfall for Phoenix off the GFS ensemble out through the 21st of October. Not much to be had here. There's a few members that try to introduce some precipitation, but that's it. Europeans very dry for the next couple of weeks. No surprise there. And temperatures off the national blend of models. Hot. That's the bottom line all the way through the weekend. Even into next week, highs do finally begin to dip below 100 degrees. Maybe we'll be done with the triple digits by then, but I wouldn't count on it yet. This has been the year of the surprises, and we probably still have more to come, as I don't think we're done with the heat. And I would not consider 99 or 97 being done with the heat. That's still far above average by mid-October, because by that point, average high temperatures are down around 90 or even dipping into the upper 80s now. So, yeah, we're still going to be very toasty here. And that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. We will also have a Hurricane Milton update on this channel later today. So my next Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is tomorrow. We'll have a Milton update later today. So stick around for that. All right, if you enjoy what we do here, then be sure to click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube and make a monetary contribution to us. Or, hey, you can donate directly via PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is the PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my one and only, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona. Talking about my Michelle. Check her out. Check out her videos. Check out everything Michelle related linked up down in the description. Also, check out our streaming station, available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX, playing a ton of music. We have a lot of fun with that, so do give that a listen as well. All right, thank you guys so much for watching and all of your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. Please be safe, stay cool, stay hydrated out there, and have yourselves a beautiful rest of your Monday.